Well, good morning. Here we are, Proverbs chapter 7. And it is striking how many warnings against adultery there are in these opening 9 chapters or 12 poems that are here. This is the last of them. And if others have described some of the consequences, the financial ruin in particular in chapter 5, this one focuses upon the sensory temptation that illicit sex can offer, but warns of the tragic consequences. Of course, in lockdown, having an affair, well, in lockdown, lots of things are harder, and having an affair is one of them. Do you remember back in May, Neil Ferguson from Imperial College, Professor Lockdown, broke the rules and had to resign from Sage, got into trouble. But while a physical affair is trickier in lockdown, the temptation of illicit online sex, I think that is much, much stronger at this time. So perhaps it's a healthy way to read chapter 7. Let's look at it. I think there's prevention, there is seduction, and there is destruction. Let me just read through it with very little comment. First then, in verses 1 to 5, there's prevention, familiar sort of words for the book of Proverbs. My son, keep my words, store up my commands within you. Keep my commands and you'll live. Guard my teachings as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Get them inside of you. Say to wisdom, you're my sister, and to insight, you're my relative. Keep them close. And this truth, these words will keep you from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words, or man. That's the prevention. You've got to get God's word into you. But the seduction, verse 6, at the window of my house, I looked down through the lattice. I saw among the simple, I noticed among the young men, a youth who had no sense. He was going down the street near her corner, walking along the direction of her house. At twilight, as the day was fading, as the dark of night set in, the father is saying, this young man was a fool. He flirted with temptation. He went where he knew the woman would be. He went at a time when he was weak. It's dark. It's late. He's tired. Don't go anywhere near this woman, would have been the sensible thing, but he does. Then out came a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute, with crafty intent. She's unruly and defiant. Her feet never stay at home. Now in the street, now in the squares, at every corner, she lurks. And she says, well, it's interesting what she says. Today I fulfill my vows and I have food from my fellowship offering at home. Look, I'm a good religious girl. It's not bad what I want to do. I'm a religious girl. It's very normal, sort of natural. So I came out to meet you. I looked for you, have found you. And look at the sensory pleasures you get here in verses 16 and 17. I've covered my bed with coloured linens from Egypt. I've perfumed my bed with myrrhs, aloes, and cinnamon. She's surrounding him. She's embracing him. She's in his face. And she's, smell, look at the sensory overload. Look how attractive this will be. So verse 18, let's drink deeply of love till morning. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. And verses 19 and 20, of course, the great lie. There are no consequences. My husband is not at home. He's gone on a long journey. He took his purse filled with money. He'll not be home till full moon. With persuasive words, she led him astray. Oh, no one will know. We'll get away with it. Nothing will go wrong. But here is destruction at the end. All at once, he, the young man, he followed her like an ox to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose till an arrow pierces his liver, a bird darting into a snare, letting no it'll cost him his life. Now then, my sons, listen to me, pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her paths. Many are the victims she's brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death. What are you going to allow to get into your heart? He says. Is it going to be the preventative truth of God's word? Or is it the illicit sex? Because when it's there physically in front of you, who cares what you read in the Bible that morning? He's saying you've got to be realistic. You need God's word in your heart. You need to not go near the temptation, because when you're there, often it's too late. You do need to remember what it'll do as well. This destruction, her house, a highway to the grave, leading down to chambers of death. And most of us think, well, it's too strong. But sadly, there are a number at church, men and women, who can tell you that illicit online sex broke them, caused great damage to them. Then we'll see tomorrow in chapter 8. Enough of the warnings, don't be a fool. Chapter 8, but pursue wisdom. Pursue the wisdom that was there at the creation of the world. Pursue, eventually, Jesus Christ. Because unlike this woman and the destruction, or the destruction that illicit online sex can bring, he will lift you up to the kingdom of life. So get that truth in your heart. Allow God's Spirit to work that, to write that truth on your heart.